Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So a little bit of a different setting today, mainly just because I cannot get the light right because it's very sunny today and it's just like shining in and creating shadows, so hopefully this is a little bit better. Anyway, this video is for those of you who have been kind of following along on my psychology, practicum internship. It is currently November, so I'm nearing the end of my practicum. I graduate in December, so I wanted to kind of film an update video and talk a little bit about my experience, how I'm feeling now that it's reaching the end, some plans for the future, and just I guess some tips that I would give people if you are going to go through this process or thinking about going through this process. So let's get into the video. So first of all, I just wanted to give a quick little overview of what my practicum is. I currently work at a nonprofit organization that deals with mainly children and adolescents, but also adults who have gone through some sort of traumatic experience. And I started working here in January, so almost a full year it will be at the end of December. I did film more videos on what it was like finding a practicum and things to look for, my day-to-day schedule. So I'll link some of those videos down below because I don't need to go all over that again. So every single program is a little bit different as to how they do schooling combined with practicum. Some places just do practicum. At some schools you're doing just the internship work, and then at other schools you're doing both the internship and school, actual classes on top of that. So that's how my program works. So the entire time that I'm doing the internship, I'm also doing a class based on the internship, and that's not just a reflection class, you come and you talk about cases or whatever. You also have other assignments on top of that, so it's still the workload of a full class. And then you're also expected to take at least one, if not two, classes on top of that. That's more dependent on how you structured your schedule. So I would say for me that was kind of one of the biggest challenges, is managing the practicum work in school, and then also if you have a job outside of that, or even just want any sort of social life. Luckily, I anticipated this being a struggle for me, so I kind of front-loaded a lot of my classes. So during practicum, I've only taken one other class on top of that practicum class. But just something to consider, if your school gives you the option of not having to take extra classes while you're doing your internship, I would highly recommend looking into that, because I know a lot of people can get very stressed out. So I was doing roughly between 10-20 hours a week of practicum work. It really depended on the week. I guess you could average it out to say 15, but there were some weeks, if my clients didn't show up, that I hardly did anything, because the majority of the time, you see clients for an hour, but then you also have all your clinical notes and other documentation or forms that need to be filled out. There's also a lot of session prep that goes into things, and sometimes researching, finding different resources for clients. There's supervision, so meeting with your supervisor each week and discussing things. There's also just other meetings that my agency has kind of on top of that, or different trainings sometimes. I would say the majority of my work was more so filled with behind the scenes stuff. Obviously you have the sessions where you're seeing clients, you also do intakes for new clients that come in. But one thing that I feel I didn't anticipate about therapy is how much of it was really just research and writing notes and all of this stuff, which is not necessarily my cup of tea. However, my site has always been extremely flexible and understanding, and just very respectful of me, my time, my situation. I've never really felt like I was just an intern. I always was kind of made to feel respected, I guess, which definitely is not the case at everyone else's. Hearing from my other classmates, I've heard some horror stories about practicum and internship experiences, and sometimes that's unfortunately all you can get, is places who really just do want to take advantage of you. And if that is your case, I'm very, very sorry. The only advice that I'd have to that is like, try to advocate for yourself. Even if you're doing your internship somewhere, you can still look for a different internship placement. But just remembering that like it's not forever and it will end. I know that that's not super helpful because when you're in it, it feels like it lasts forever. But if you do have the option of being a little bit more picky about where you're choosing to do your internship, I would recommend like really focusing on how you feel in the interview, or like whoever you're talking to at the agency, even if it's just like the other therapists, people who work there. Unless you have nothing else going on in your life aside from this internship, flexibility is going to be a huge thing, especially if you're still doing school. So making sure that they understand like that's important and that's time consuming, and trying to find a schedule that works for both of you. And also trying to make sure that like whoever your supervisor would be, that you'd be comfortable actually going to them and letting them know like if you've made a mistake or if you're not sure about something, because I think that that's like a huge thing. I know for me, I hate doing things wrong, making mistakes. It's always correlated with like a failure in my mind. So it is hard for me in general to like talk to people about that. But luckily, like right from the start, my supervisor seemed very like equipped to handle whatever came up, and like kind of understood already like where I was coming from, and so just made it like a great environment. But overall, just trust your gut. Like if it doesn't feel like this is where you're supposed to be, it's probably not. And like I said, even if you have to choose that place for now because you don't want to be behind, you can continuously look for new sites that will fit you better. I think the most important thing that I've learned through this experience is just the importance of like learning how to go with the flow, and understanding that you don't always have to have an answer for everything. You don't always have to know exactly what intervention to apply in that given moment. Of course, it's helpful to kind of have a background knowledge of, what symptoms would be treated with what interventions. I mean, you do kind of have to have that like evidence-based treatment plan or model or whatever. But to think that you are always going to know what to do in certain situations, and even just what clients are going to say, you can work with a client for a while and feel like you just know them so well, and you kind of know what to expect or how they're going to handle situations, and then they can come one session and be like completely different from what you knew. Even though I am applying interventions and doing different skills and techniques with them, it kind of feels like for me that I'm not doing much, that the progress is really slow. But I do like to like check in with my clients and see how they're feeling about it, and I always hear from them that they like love coming to therapy and that it's been really helpful for them. And so it's nice to hear, but also on my end it always just feels that you're not doing enough. So I think that I have learned to try to give myself more credit. It's still definitely a work in progress, but I would say just like take it one session at a time. You don't need to have everything figured out right away. I also think that throughout this process of just even doing the practicum, I've learned a lot more about myself and how I'm a lot more aware of how I communicate with people, even just like in my personal life. Thinking about what I say and if that would offend someone, just kind of thinking more through my actions and behaviors. There's a good and a bad to that. Obviously, it's, I think, made me a better person, but also it's made me overthink more than I already did. I'm always constantly thinking about like, was that right? Was that wrong? And that's my own anxiety, but I think that there's always a level of that with everyone, especially if you're in this profession. I think that my goals for the future have also changed. Although I do enjoy doing therapy, I've enjoyed my internship work, and I know that I want to do some sort of career where I'm helping people, like something that's very purposeful. I think that therapy in general isn't the only thing that I want to be doing in the future. And I think for me, I'm still kind of coming to terms with that, because obviously I spent all this time and money on schooling, and it feels like it's kind of something that I have to do. And I'm not saying that I never want to do therapy. I'm completely against it, not at all. But I think that I put so much of my time and energy into the people in my life and the people that are important to me. And being a full-time therapist, you know, you have like 20 to 30 clients a week. And I think that for me, that's very exhausting. And the unfortunate thing about this career is it's not really something that you can test out before you do it. Due to like confidentiality and stuff, it's not like you can shadow a therapist and like sit there in the session, even anything remotely similar to this. So it's kind of hard, because I wouldn't have known that if I didn't go through this. So I think for me, doing part-time therapy and then maybe having another thing on the side that's a little bit less draining for me, because I do love seeing clients, but I want to be able to give my all to those clients that I am seeing. And I think that I just maybe get a little bit more worn down than other people do. I don't know. So as far as my options right now, I'm looking into different positions, different career fields. I think that there's also a part of me that wants to explore a little bit with more like humanitarian aid work, things that are kind of outside of therapy that might be a little bit more down the line for me, because it doesn't completely correlate with where my life is at the moment. But as soon as I have a better idea of what I'm going to do after practicum and like kind of the job searching process, I will film a video and update you guys on that. But other than that, that's kind of all I wanted to talk to you guys about. I just kind of want to summarize everything. And as always, if you have any specific questions or concerns or just want to chat about something, please feel free to leave a comment. You can DM me on Instagram. That's in the description below. And thank you for those of you who have followed along on this journey with me from the beginning. I hope that it's been somewhat informative or helpful for you. If it has, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you want to see future videos, please hit that subscribe button below. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.